Now that is as unpredictable and as unexpected as Test cricket can possibly. What a session for India. And not courtesy Rishabh Pant, who everyone thought the hopes would be pinned on the final day of this Lord's Test. But it was on Bumrah and Shami. They've managed to put together a partnership of 77, an unbeaten partnership of 77 that takes India to that key number that you see just below on your screen. 259 is the lead. It's lunch on day 5 at Lord's. Steve Harmison and VVS Laxman on ESPN Cricket for match day. Laxman's got a smile on his face. Why shouldn't he? What a session, Laxman.
I mean, just a phenomenal exhibition of great determination and how lion-hearted these three bowlers have been. We know that what they can do with a cricket ball, but in this kind of situation, I felt it was a very decisive moment as far as this Test match was concerned. Everyone were giving England, a lot of credit for the way they, sort of dominated this Test match. And but both these batsmen just didn't give away anything to the English bowlers. I just felt that the kind of technique, the kind of the lion-heartedness they showed in going back whenever bouncers were bowled at them, and whenever the chances were there, they were not hesitant to play their shots. And also there was lovely aggression, and I enjoyed that banter. I enjoyed that verbal duel between the batsmen out there with their opposition players. I think it was fantastic exhibition of Test cricket. I felt Test cricket at the highest order.
What happened, Steve? You thought England's plan would have been let's get Pant, and they got Pant. What happened after that?
They lost the plot. They just completely lost the plot. I've got no idea what sort of that half an hour period after getting Rishabh Pant out. What on earth happened to the England cricket team? They didn't have any slips. No catches in any positions. We're bowling numbers 9, 10, and we haven't even getting to 11 yet. And it was like, right, where they're going to bowl a half volley or we're going to bowl a bouncer. And it was thinking, them stumps don't move. Good balls to number 4 of Virat Kohli is a good ball to Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah. The game of cricket doesn't change for me. And I just think England lost the plot. And like VVS said, when the verbals was coming round, I didn't mind that. I think it was good entertainment. It's what you want to see, two passionate groups going hard, head to head and going hard at each other. But England just seemed to take one eye off actually trying to get Jasprit Bumrah out, and it was like we're gonna inflict some pain on him. You inflict pain on him. Well, thank you very much. Go Jason 210 to win and hold the champagne aloft and say, well, that's very good. You can bowl bounces as much as you want at me, but we've won the game. And I think England just completely lost the plot. But as much as England did lose the plot, how well did India play? That was fantastic. Again, like what VVS said, the bravery that they showed, the ability to try and score was unbelievable. And I'm not sure if it's what it's like on TV over in India, but the Crick Viz over here, when Ishant Sharma got out, it was 41% on England to win this Test match, and it's now 1%. Just shows you how much bravery Shami and Jasprit Bumrah have shown.
I think that there are a lot of stats and a lot of betting sites that would have got completely fooled by what's happened in the last hour. But I'd like to focus with the both of you on what you both brought up, right? Call it banter, call it, a bit of heat, which is always nice to see. I'll come to you first, Steve. Did England somewhere lose focus at that point? Was the priority more, let's get back at Bumrah for that over at Anderson? And in all of that, did they somewhere just lose the plan of actually getting 2 wickets?
Absolutely. 100%. They lost the plan of what they were trying to do. They decided that they were going to have 6 men on the boundary, bowl bounces at Jasprit Bumrah, and he was going to top edge one straight up in the air. And for me, I've said many, many times before, you can get caught up in the emotion of Test match cricket, and you sometimes have to just take a step back and try to take a couple of deep breaths. And I think that was massively evident there. Inexperience. When you look at the bowlers, some of the bowlers or the fielders and everybody that was getting on, that possibly could have come because, and what I mean by that is the inexperienced characters trying to sort of stand up for Jimmy Anderson. And I'm like, well, Jimmy, 39-year-old, he's played 160 Test matches. He can stand up for himself. He is a big boy. And I thought that was when it changed. That Anderson came off and it was Wood that was coming on. When Wood came on, it was as how we are going to inflict pain by bowling bounces at you, as opposed to Anderson staying on, and you can bowl as many bounces as you want to me, but I'm going to nick you off and I'm going to send you on your way. And that would have been a better course of action from the England cricket team. So they just completely lost focus, and England just were all at sea for about half an hour. And it gave Shami and Bumrah a chance to get in and basically get used to being in the heat of the battle. And they've not once looked back. And to be fair, since that half an hour, they've not really once looked like getting out.
Yeah. In on the other hand, Lakshman, did you get the feeling that that was just the sort of fire or spark that a Bumrah or a Shami needed? I mean, you've never seen Bumrah lose his cool on the field. Suddenly, this happens, and I mean, I'm not sure if it didn't happen whether India's batters would have thought, oh, we're not going to. Pant is gone. We're not going to really survive much longer. Suddenly, there's something that happens there, and they're up for a fight.
Yeah, I think firstly, if you remember Raunak, you asked, will Jimmy come back at Bumrah? And my answer was Indian batsmen or Indian bowlers would want Jimmy or other English bowlers to bowl a lot of bouncers. Because on
Yes.
this wicket, the dangerous delivery or the dangerous length is when the ball is pitched up. And none of these tailenders will mind taking on the bouncers. They practice using Raghu, the throwdown specialist. I've seen firsthand at the ground how much hard they practice, and that's why you see the improvement in all their techniques, all their batting, and that's why they've contributed now with the bat. The second, you can't get distracted, and the third thing is, as I just tweeted, saying there's all the bowlers I played with, Anil Kumble, Venkat Patiraju, Zahir Khan. You can't instigate them because one thing they will not get. I'm sure Steve also is that kind of character. Is if you instigate them, they will not give anything easy. You have to earn their wicket. I still remember the jelly beans incident in Nottingham. Whoever batsman, I don't want to take his name on this show, but he put, the jelly beans when Zach walked out to bat. And Zach was totally different the next time he went out to bowl in the test match and that test series thereon. So I just feel that that was the right kind of stimulus for both Shami and Bumrah, and it worked in India's favor. It's not only in favor of both these batsmen, but it worked in India's favor because at that time, as Steve mentioned, 40% chances were towards England to win this test match. And now it's only 1%, which shows that how the entire fortune of this test match has shifted towards India. Now it is India who will dictate the terms. So you can't be emotionally disturbed, I understand that Jimmy Anderson is a very important member, he's a leader in that group. But the bottom line is you're going out and representing your country. You want to take those wickets as quickly as possible and score those runs. And ultimately, it's the result which matters. I somehow felt that the English team got distracted with what happened to Jimmy the other night.
Is that a universal trait of your tribe, Steve? When you get a little wired up, suddenly it just changes. The bat seems to come down right the way it should.
Yeah, well, it not so much focuses you, but it gives you that steely determination that you're not going to get beat, and all of a sudden, confidence builds, and you start seeing the ball a little bit easier. And when they're bowling the ball at sort of eye level, it makes you switch on that little bit more. And then all of a sudden, when you come out to bat, when England come out to bat, you've got 3 or 4 fired up fast bowlers. Now that could work against India. That could work against India in the same way as you're going with England, because all of a sudden, if there's fire in the belly, you could get distracted from trying to bowl too fast, bowling too hard, and all of a sudden, after 20 minutes, the game's moving away from you. So it does work both ways. But when it comes to having a bat in your hand and the heat of the battle becomes a little bit more intensified, the professional sportsmen, they are, the difference between the good and the great are the ones that really stand up and be counted at pressurized situations. And I think that's what happens with tailenders when all of a sudden it starts whizzing around the nose and they've been hit a couple of times. Well, then maybe there's a bit of verbal there. There's one lot will run away and the other lot will stand up and be counted. And a lot of the time, the ones that stand up and be counted are the ones that are playing in test arena. And that's what happened to the Indian bowlers when they've got a bat in their hand, and they've done remarkably well.
I'm just trying to think of why England couldn't correct this for so long. Why was the plot lost for this long, Steve? Because, like you pointed out, for the last 40 minutes or so, it didn't even look like either of them were going to get out. Couldn't they have regrouped? Couldn't a message have come in? There's Anderson, there's Root, there are experienced players there. Why couldn't they just pull things back together?
Because to give India a chance to get themselves in a position to get in. And that for me is key. We've said, both myself and VVS have said over the last 4.5 days, 4 and a bit days, how placid this pitch is. There's no real demons in it. VVS mentioned earlier, the fuller ball is the one that's caused the problem. But all of a sudden, if you've got a tail ender who you've given a chance to get 15, 20 balls because you bowled bouncers and you've had a real sort of go at them, you've bowled a bit wider because it's gone a bit too, you got a bit too hard, then all of a sudden, a bowler, from my experience, I would just be saying, right, I'm in and around off stump. If he bowls me a decent ball that nips away, I'm not good enough to hit it. Simple as that. I'm not good enough to hit it. But the more I'm seeing it, the better I'm moving and the easier it is becoming. And if I do get a ball to hit, I will go and throw everything positively and hit it. And that's what India have done. When the ball's been in a half decent area, they missed it. It's simple. But I was always the opinion of myself is I've got no chance of hitting that. So I'm not going to be bothered. It's not going to get me down. The one that's in my slot, I'm going to hit. And the balls that were in the slot to hit, there were more often than the balls were in the slot that they were going to miss. And I think that just built confidence. The crowd got going. I reckon it's nearly 50-50 more, possibly more, 60-40 towards India in the crowd at Lords at this moment in time. So that helps. And then the balconies on top, and you've got two guys who are urging each other on just to hang in there. You hang in there with me, and I'll hang in with you. We're having a bit of fun, a little bit of banter. Look at England, they're down, they're deflated. All that comes together and it galvanizes the two. And at this minute in time, they're looking in a good place.
This is now what, the second test in a row where this lower order, or this tail that doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to with bat, Laxman, has actually performed. You see this something that India are clearly consciously working on, and can this also perhaps change the way India or Virat Kohli looks at his lower order when he comes to making selection calls? Suddenly India's bowlers aren't just walking wickets at 9, 10, 11.
I think credit to firstly, I'm sure the team management and also to all these tailenders. As I mentioned yesterday, Ishan Sharma is more than capable of batting, and I've had the experience of having those partnership with him. Shami is more than capable of batting. We know that he can hit those big sixes. I still remember that match against South Africa, I think, where he hit a lot of sixes. Umesh Yadav, who is not part of this playing 11, he's a useful batsman. He's got a first-class 100. Just to Bumrah, we've seen from the Australia series how much value he's giving to his wicket and how much he's improved as far as his batting is concerned. Siraj being from Hyderabad, I know that he can bat. But it's about the desire to get better, which is very impressive. And that's why I mentioned at the start of this conversation that I have seen firsthand, because whenever I'm commentating and I'm on the ground, I've seen Raghu, the throwdown specialist, working with these bowlers, whenever the match is on or just the match is finished, where all the top order batsmen maybe are doing training or not, doing any nets, and all these bowlers come out and do extra throwdowns to get better. And majority of the times when Raghu bowls or when Raghu throws in the nets, it's more targeting in the rib cage, and at a very good pace. And the more you work and more meaningful is your preparation, the more better you get. So I think the first and foremost is all these bowlers' desire to get better is evident. And that is why you're seeing the result. And this is a massive shift for the Indian batting lineup, because we've talked about how the middle order hasn't performed to their potential and how much the Indian bowlers always took the opposition top six batsmen and then the opposition tail, took India away from the match. And the contribution from Indian tailenders hasn't been as good as they want. So I think this is a major shift, and nothing succeeds like success. The more success you achieve, the more confidence you build, and now you trust, and now you feel that yes, every time I go out to bat, I can contribute with the bat, and these are useful runs for myself and for my team.
That's brilliant. What Lakshman just points out, the insight he's just given us, Steve, is that something new from what you've heard in terms of the teams you played in? How much time did you yourself perhaps give to your batting, or how much did the team insist that you do? And is this something which is surprising, or has it been around a while?
I think it's been around a while. I remember during my time, you would work with batsmen, we work with bowlers just on on little specific techniques. There was I think it was one time I can't remember where we were. I got Kevin Peterson as a batting buddy, as they called him, And Kev was like, you just get your foot to the pitch of the ball and hit it over there. And I'm like, Kevin, I can't do it like you. It's like no, it's simple. It's simple. You just get the ball down and bang, and it's over there. And I'm like, every time I try it, I'm either missing it or I'm plinking it to mid wicket. And it's like, Kevin, I'll tell you what, you bowl a ball and try and bowl more than 75 mile an hour, and then I'll say to you, well, why can't you bowl 90? So things like that do happen between teams. But joking aside, I think what VVS is saying there is a great point. And don't underestimate the amount of time that these Indian teams been on British soil, on UK soil. They've been in Durham for a long time. So, you don't want to bowl them into the ground and consistently get them going. How many times, VVS, have we heard teams first test match and say they're slightly undercooked, they're slightly underdone? With the World Test Championship, been here for a while now, and when you've been there a while, the bowlers do tend to bat a lot more. So from that point of view, the preparation has been good going into this series, and that's something I think we'll probably look at moving forward.
All right. Now, let's move forward. 64 overs at a minimum left in the day, the final day at Lord's. 259 the lead. Laxman, are India safe?
I think definitely they are safe, but they have to bowl well. As we maintain that this is a placid wicket, and if they don't create that early inroads, and if Joe Root is still there, I think the kind of one-day or white ball specialist England has, Johnny Bairstow is in tremendous form, Moeen Ali and Sam Curran can play those big shots, and probably this is the stage set for someone like Josh Butler if at all England requires quick runs. So it's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy. And that's why I feel that probably India should look to declare now, because they are in a good position to win this test match. And if things are not going their way, they can always slow down things. But I think at the moment, the number of overs which are left, I feel India should declare straight away and take up the challenge of bowling out England for less than this or within the target they set.
Yeah, that's interesting. So would you go with that, Steve? India are in a comfortable position. They're safe. They won't lose this game. So they might as well declare now and give themselves 64 and not 62 overs if the innings shift somewhere in the middle of the session.
I'd love to see them declare now. I'd love to see it because I think it'll make for a great test match. I think it'll be a great game. I still think England at this minute in time, there's still an outside chance, just for the simple fact is middle order that England have got. If they are time 190 off, I don't know, 30 overs in the last session, you're thinking, you know what, England have got the firepower, but I don't see that. I don't see England being able to get in that position. How slow Sibley and Burns and Hamid bat. So I think India are obviously in the box seat. It's which captain fancies the risk to lose to go and try and win it. And I said that yesterday, and it makes more what happened at Trent Bridge such a shame that we didn't get a winner on the last day of the first test match, because if India are 1-0 down, Virat Kohli might just be declaring right now. If England were 1-0 down, then England might be thinking, we need 2 quick wickets, and even if it's 270 off 58, we're going to have a go and get these, and let's have a right hard go at it. So I don't see either captain wanting to risk losing the game to go and try and win it. So we might see a reserve declaration around about 55, 53 overs from Virat if they're still batting. And if England do bowl India out, I'd be surprised if they go and chase it down.
I think just to tell Ronak, one thing which we have seen from Virat, right from the first match, his captain for India is he's never afraid of losing. And he also will understand that if at all the opposition batsmen feel that they have a chance to achieve their target, in the bargain, they will be trying to play some shots. And on this wicket, you want the batsmen to play a lot more shots to create chances and get their wicket. So I think there is a risk element attached to it, but I think it's good to have that risk. Then actually just shut out England from this test match, and then there is only 2 possible results. One, India winning the test match, or maybe a draw. So I think Virat Kohli also understands, just to give that sort of incentive to England. Yeah. Let us go for this target, and in the bargain, if they get a couple of wickets early on, and suddenly you can see that England dressing room jittery, and probably that is the best place for India and for the Indian bowlers. So I think I always feel that Virat Kohli will be proactive. He doesn't mind losing, and that's been his strength as a captain.
All right, brilliant. Well, we've got a heck of a couple of sessions lined up ahead of us. Maybe he'll wait for Shami to get to his 100 and then declare after that. We'll give him a couple of overs. Join Ajit Agarkar at the Lord's Honours Board. Imagine that as a story if it is to happen, right? 259 the lead. We'll see how things go. This should be a cracking test if the last two wickets fall soon. Steve Harmison, VVS Laxman pick up the conversation at tea time on ESPN Cricket for Match Day. What a session we've had. Let's see how this test match finally culminates, and we'll pick up the chat at tea.